Karen called the cops on my pregnant wife, and the sheriff saluted her instead. That's how it started the moment I realized this neighborhood wasn't run by reason or compassion, but by a woman with a clipboard who thought she was queen of Magnolia Crest. I can still see her lips tightening her smug little nod as the tow truck rolled toward our driveway, while my wife Leah sat pale and shaking in the passenger seat. 9 months pregnant, barely able to stand, and Brenda, our HOA president, was ready to gamble with her life over a parking violation. I stepped between the truck and our car, my voice low but shaking with anger. "Touch this vehicle and you'll be breaking Georgia state code. She's a high-risk medical patient." Brenda smirked, daring me to make it a scene. That was Brenda's weapon paper threats intimidation, and for a moment I thought maybe she'd win. Then the sheriff arrived. For one terrifying second, I thought the law had come to back her up. But instead, Sheriff McCrae walked right past her and saluted my wife. "Didn't expect to see you like this, ma'am," he said softly. Leah smiled faintly, trying to hide how exhausted she was. The sheriff gave her 10 minutes to rest and promised to block off the street if needed. Brenda's face went white. That was the first crack. But let me rewind. I'm Dan Reimer, a civil rights attorney. I moved into Magnolia Crest thinking it was the kind of neighborhood where kids rode bikes in cul-de-sacs and folks waved from porches. I was wrong. From the moment Brenda learned I knew the law, she doubled down. It started small citations for a porch swing my father built a planter Leah had arranged too densely. At first I laughed it off. But when Leah spoke at a community meeting about parking accommodations for disabled residents, the real war began. Suddenly, every week came another notice: too many leaves in our gutter, groceries left on the porch too long, Halloween decor not aesthetic enough. Brenda hid behind vague words like uniformity and disruptive appearance. To her, the rules weren't guidelines, they were weapons. And then came that morning with the tow truck. Watching Leah clutch her belly while Brenda called it unsightly idle activity, something broke inside me. I wasn't just a husband anymore. I was a man staring down someone who believed her authority outweighed common sense, even human decency. I wish I could say I immediately rose up, that I charged into battle with certainty. But I didn't. The truth is, I almost quit. When the citations piled up, when Leah whispered through tears that she wanted to move, when I read the letter demanding $3,000 in fines we'd never seen itemized, I felt powerless. What good was all my training, all my courtroom victories, if I couldn't even protect my own wife from a woman with a clipboard? I remember sitting at the kitchen table, head in my hands, staring at Leah across from me. She looked so small, her hands resting on her belly, eyes downcast. She said quietly, "It's like she's circling me." And in that moment, I wanted to run, pack up, leave, pretend this neighborhood never happened. But then something shifted. I pulled out the HOA charter from our home buying packet, flipping through the clauses I'd skimmed months earlier. That's when I saw it. Brenda's latest flyers claimed she had discretionary enforcement authority. Except, my copy didn't include any such power. No board vote, no quorum, no official amendment. She hadn't just abused the rules, she had invented them. That realization hit me like a jolt. This wasn't just harassment, it was fraud. And fraud I knew how to fight. The universe delivered my first ally in the unlikeliest form. Tony Myers, the maintenance guy. Tony had been Brenda's silent enforcer, measuring lawns, handing out violation slips. But one afternoon he left a folded flyer at the edge of my lawn, a draft amendment with Brenda's handwriting in the margins. In blue ink she'd written, "Pass these before filing deadline. Confirm quorum later if needed. BH." That wasn't an accident. That was intent. She was rewriting the rules after the fact, backdating policies to make her power look legitimate. Tony didn't say it out loud, but his hands were shaking when he dropped it. That was enough for me. I reached out to an old colleague, Marcella Conan-Cade, an attorney who specialized in HOA law. When she read through the documents, she didn't mince words. "She's impersonating structural authority," Marcella said flatly. "Those amendments are void. If she fined you or anyone else under them, she's liable." That was the spark I needed. I drafted a cease and desist letter citing procedural fraud and prepared to deliver it. But Marcella warned me if I moved too early, Brenda would cover her tracks. I needed her to make one more mistake. So I baited her. I hung a banner across our porch swing, white cloth, black letters, built by hand, defended by law. It wasn't permanent, it wasn't offensive, but it was visible. And sure enough, Brenda came storming down the sidewalk, clipboard ready. She sent Tony to issue a new violation under a brand new clause called discretionary aesthetic interference. But the document Tony carried had sloppy edits and mismatched fonts. A fake. He didn't even look me in the eye when he handed it over. Later that week, he came to my porch not as staff, but as a man who'd had enough. He confessed Brenda ordered him to print fake meeting minutes, backdate amendments, even lie about votes. And then he handed me a flash drive. Emails, drafts, calendars. Proof. Brenda had dug her own grave and Tony had just passed me the shovel. The final showdown came at the clubhouse. Brenda scheduled a re-ratification meeting, planning to rubber stamp her fake rules without homeowners present. I made sure she wouldn't get away with it. The room filled quickly, neighbors who'd once stayed silent, now curious, even restless. By the time Brenda marched in with her tight bun and sharper glare, the seats were packed. She tapped the mic and declared it was procedural, only no discussion allowed. I stepped forward. Actually, I said under Georgia statute, every homeowner present has the right to propose agenda items with majority consent. I asked for a vote. Hands shot up across the room. Brenda tried to object, but the tide had shifted. I plugged in my laptop and the projector lit up the wall. Slide 1, her handwriting. Pass these before filing deadline. Confirm quorum later if needed. BH. Murmurs filled the air. Slide 2, her email to Tony requesting backdated minutes. Slide 3, the fake amendment beside the real one from county records dates, didn't match headers, didn't match. Slide 4, a compliance memo with Leah's name circled as a high-risk property. That's when the room erupted. Neighbors shouted, "My name's on that list too. She fined me for pavers approved years ago." Brenda's face drained of color. She tapped the mic, stammering about context, but her hand trembled. Marcella stood in the back, folder in hand, and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "Miss Halcraftoft, a formal complaint has been filed with the state registrar. You are advised not to destroy or alter any HOA records." Silence followed, thick and final. Brenda's eyes darted across the room, searching for support. There was none. She turned, walked out the side door, and never came back. That was it. No fireworks, no applause, just the sound of a door closing on her reign. And me standing at the podium realizing the war was over, not because I fought alone, but because a neighborhood finally woke up. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Silence is compliance, but one voice, one stubborn refusal to back down can bring the whole house of cards crashing down.